He who follows the crowd will be forgotten. That's not just a poetic warning. It's not metaphor, it's prophecy. And it's already unfolding, not somewhere far away, not in ancient texts, not in the dark corners of history, but here. Now in plain sight. Every time someone trades their truth for applause, every time someone lowers their voice to stay accepted, every time someone swallows their soul just to feel safe, this death, it's not the dramatic kind. It's not the explosion or collapse that films like to show. No, it's a slow erosion, a vanishing, steady dissolving of self piece by piece, inch by inch, until there's nothing left but echoes. Until the person you were born to be is nothing but a rumor buried under layers of what was expected. What was safe, what was applauded, Friedrich Nietzsche saw it, felt it, lived it. That's why he didn't write to entertain. He didn't write for followers. He didn't write to be liked. He wrote because something in him refused to die quietly. He wrote because he saw what conformity does to the human spirit, how it grinds down brilliance into obedience, how it turns wild souls into tame shadows, how it murders the very thing that gives life meaning. You think you're just trying to get along. You think blending in is harmless? But every time you choose approval over authenticity, you don't just lose a little of yourself, you lose the right to yourself. You start to live in their world, built by their rules, powered by their whirls. Praise, defined by their standards. And soon enough, you forget that there was ever a world of your own to build. The moment you start filtering your truth to fit the script, you've handed your soul to someone else, and the crowd. The crowd doesn't love you. It loves the idea of you, the manageable version, the agreeable version, the non-threatening version. The moment you break that mold, the moment you stop playing by their script, they don't cheer, they turn, because you've become dangerous. Not because you're wrong, but because you're free, and in a world built on obedience. Freedom is heresy. Nietzsche called it the struggle of the individual against the tribe, and he wasn't being poetic. He was screaming into the abyss of mass obedience, trying to warn us, trying to say, look at what you're becoming. We are not just surrounded by the tribe, we are suffocated by it. It's in your feed. Job, your family, your thoughts. Everywhere you turn, someone is selling you a map to a life that isn't yours. A checklist, a costume, a lie, and we wear it, not because we believe it, because we fear the cost of shedding it. Because to stand alone, to walk away is terrifying, to be laughed at, judged, misunderstood, excluded. But let me ask you, what's more terrifying, being judged for who you are, or being forgotten for who you never were? What's more painful, being mocked for standing alone, or dying quietly among the obedient? The world does not build statues of those who fit in, does not tell stories about the agreeable, the cautious, the ones who played it safe. World remembers the outliers, the originals, the misfits who said no when everyone else nodded yes. But most people aren't ready for that. They'll post quotes about being authentic. They'll share slogans about breaking the mold. But the moment it costs them something, their image, their comfort, their certainty, they fold, they vanish. They disappear into the chorus of the crowd. They become forgettable. Not because they lacked potential, but because they refused to live it. Because following the crowd is easy. It's warm, it's padded. It gives you a script, a smile, a safe little bubble. But that bubble is also your cage, and inside that cage, your voice dies. Your vision fades. Your truth drowns in applause that was never meant for you, only the version of you that fit. And Nietzsche, he wasn't just warning us, he was mourning us. He was mourning the fire he saw, in others slowly being extinguished by expectation. He saw thinkers become parrots. Rebels become products. Souls become brands. He saw how the tribe seduces you, not with violence, but with comfort. You'll be liked. You'll be safe. You'll be accepted. But acceptance is not belonging. It's not love. Not liberation. It's just another word for permission. Permission to stay in the cage. And most people, they take that deal. They trade their wings for walls, their voice for silence. They're calling for conformity. But some people, rare people, they burn the map. They let it all fall apart. They stop running from discomfort, from judgment, from solitude. And in that stillness, in that raw, terrifying freedom, something awakens. Not a brand, not a trend, not a polished self-image, but a soul. One that remembers what it was before the noise, before the masks, before the filters. And that remembering, that's rebellion, that's revolution. That's where you begin. The world doesn't need more polite followers, doesn't need more sanitized echoes. It doesn't need another person trying to say the right thing at the right time in the right tone. It needs you, your voice, your truth, your wild, unfiltered soul. Even if it's rough, even if it's messy, even if it's not optimized for likes, because the truth, the real truth. The world doesn't change when everyone agrees. It changes when one person disagrees. When one person says, "No, I won't betray myself to belong." When one person dares to walk into the unknown without a script, without applause, without needing to be understood, that kind of person is rare. Not because it's impossible, but because it's uncomfortable. Because to become that kind of person, you have to die first. Die to your people, pleasing. Die to your need for constant affirmation. Die to the fantasy that you can be free and approved by everyone, and that death, it's brutal. It will cost you friends. It will cost you peace. It will cost you the version of you that was built to be digestible. But what you gain is everything. A self that's whole, a life that's yours, a voice that no longer trembles, a presence that no longer apologizes. Because once you've claimed yourself fully, brutally, honestly, you become something the tribe can't own. They can't cancel you because you're not seeking their permission. They can't silence you because your voice doesn't live in their echo chamber. They can't label you because you are no longer a category. You are a force, and that's immortality. That's legacy. That's what it means to be unforgettable. Not by being loud, but by being. Not by fitting in, but by standing firm. Not by winning. It's approval, but by refusing to beg for it. And if you're feeling that tension, that pull between who you are and what the world expects, good. That's your soul. It's not confusion. It's not weakness. It's the first spark of your resurrection. The crowd will call you. It's arrogant, selfish, difficult. Not because you are, but because you didn't break. Because you had the audacity to say, "No, I won't perform for your comfort." And that's the point. You weren't born to be. It's manageable. You weren't created to be polite. You weren't sent here to disappear. You were sent here to burn in that fire. That refusal to be owned is what the world fears. Because it can't use you. It can't shape you. It can't sell you. You're no longer an obedient pawn in someone else's system. You're your own system now, and they'll try to punish you for that. But what they don't know is the punishment already happened. It was the years you spent trying to belong. It's the years you spent trying to be liked. It's the years you spent shrinking. That was the pain. This is freedom. This is freedom. You don't owe them your silence. You don't owe them your comfort. You don't owe them your dilution. Your shrinking. Your apology. What you owe is to the fire within you. To one that's been whispering all along. This isn't it. This isn't who you are. This isn't why you were born. And maybe you've ignored it. Maybe you've silenced it. Drowned it in noise. In approval. On being good. But fire doesn't die that easily. It waits. It waits in the cracks of your performance. In the pauses of your sentences. In the eyes you avoid in the mirror. It waits in the restlessness. The rage. The tears you can't explain. And one day it won't wait anymore. It will burn the script. It will shatter the mask. It will drag you back to the edge where you can't fake it anymore, where you either leap or decay. And here's the thing, most won't leap. Most will turn back, will rebuild the mask, will convince themselves that the cage is comfortable, that the leash is necessary, that dying quietly is better than living loudly. But you, you're still here, reading this, feeling the fire rise? So, let me tell you the truth. They never will. You were not built to obey. You were not created to be consumed. You were not shaped for the soft safety of conformity. You were built to erupt, to disrupt too. Question, to become, and becoming isn't clean. It's not poetic. It's not beautiful. It's brutal. It's lonely. It's violent because to become who you truly are, you must destroy who you never were. You must kill the version of yourself that others applauded but you never believed in. You must bury the nice, compliant ghost they trained you to be. And in that funeral, you will cry. You will rage. You will beg to go back. Because the comfort of the cage is seductive. But you didn't come this far to go back. You came to burn, to break, to birth something new, something ancient, something real, that is. The work of the individual, the rarest path, the most dangerous choice. Because once you choose it, you can't unknow it. You can't unfeel it. You can't unsee the prison you were born into. And you'll notice things. Others don't. You'll see how school trains obedience, not curiosity. How media sells fear, not truth. How culture rewards masks, not souls. You'll become the outsider, the heretic, the threat, not because you hurt anyone, but because you can't be controlled. And in a world addicted to control. The free are feared. They'll call you unstable, too intense, too rebellious, too much. Let them. You weren't born to be palatable. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to awaken. And that awakening, that's your gift to the world. Not your performance, not your productivity, not your perfection, your awakening. Because when one soul remembers who they are, it echoes, it breaks the spell, it cracks the illusion, it reminds others that they are not crazy for feeling out of place in a sick society. It shows them what's possible, and that is more dangerous than any revolution, because when you wake up truly, fully, you no longer need the system, and the system can't survive that. Survives on dependency, on obedience, on your fear of being alone. But once you walk into that solitude, that real, raw aloneness, you realize something. You were never alone. You were just surrounded by noise. And in the silence, you meet yourself. Not the self you post, not the self you dress up, not the self you try to sell. The one underneath. The one who remembers the child who knew, the artist who dreamed, the animal who wanted, the soul who burned. And you'll cry, 'cause you forgot. Because you abandoned them, but they forgive you. Because they know what it took to survive. And now you don't have to survive. You get to live. Live on your terms, in your voice, through your lens, no one else's. And yes, it will cost you it. Will cost you belonging. It will cost you certainty. It will cost you comfort, but it will give you everything else. Real connection, real purpose, real presence, not the filtered, polished versions, the real thing, the kind that doesn't need to be proven, the kind that just is. That's what waits for you on the other side of obedience. But only if you're willing to leave the crowd, to disappoint them, to walk away, to burn it all down, not to destroy, but to begin. Because all revolutions begin with one individual who dared to question the script, who dared to walk alone, who dared to live. And that can be you, not in theory, not someday. Now, today, with one decision. To stop pretending, to stop shrinking, to stop chasing applause, and to start choosing yourself fully, finally, ferociously. Because the moment you do, the world shifts. Not for them, for you. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what being free really means. Not being above the crowd, not being louder than them, but simply no longer needing them. Epilogue. The immortal Futha. World forgets those who follow. It remembers those who burn, not the ones who spoke the loudest, but the ones who lived the truest, who dared to make their existence a statement, not a plea, not a compromise, a declaration. I was here. I was real. I didn't fold. It's legacy, not fame, not followers, not trends, but truth, lived fully, lived boldly, lived without regret. And in the end, when the noise fades, when the crowd moves on, the stage is empty and the lights go out, all that remains is this. Did you live as you? Or did you live as what they wanted? One answer will echo forever, the other will vanish. So choose wisely, because you are not guaranteed. Tomorrow, you are not promised more time, but you are. Right now, being handed a choice, fade with the crowd, rise as the fire.